I just want to talk a little bit about today, just the psychology of weight loss and healthy eating. Sometimes we talk about all these different ways that we can lose weight, and you can suction fat cells out, or you can freeze them out, but we want to talk a little bit more about the psychology of healthy eating, diet, and that sort of thing. I think what happens for a lot of us is we get addicted to carbohydrates, and there's a lot of studies out there that show how addictions are overcome, and invariably it always goes back to finding an alternative behavior other than the addictive behavior that you have, whether it's quitting smoking or eating more healthy levels of carbohydrates, because carbohydrates are really the biggest issue that we have when we're talking about expanding a fat cell or getting fat. Is really the basis of getting fat is expanding a fat cell. So what I find is that for a lot of my patients is that what happens is we start eating carbohydrates, and I always tell my patients it's kind of like carbohydrates are like a pill that has addictive potential. And we know that because whenever we eat those carbohydrates, we crave more of them. But this pill called carbohydrates also has side effects. We know that because after we eat a large carbohydrate meal, then we get foggy headed. It's hard to think. Just try go eat a big carbohydrate meal, and go try to do your taxes, and see how difficult it is. So I think it helps for us to understand carbohydrates in that manner, that it's like a pill that has addictive potential, should be a controlled substance maybe, and then understand that it also has side effects of, number one, foggy thinking, number two, it makes us fat. Doesn't mean carbohydrates are bad, it just means that we need to make them work for us and not us work for them. So in my practice, I see a lot of patients, and I see people from the beginning stages to when they lose their weight, and then when they keep it off. A lot of patients come to me just for accountability purposes, but invariably you see it just about in 90+% of the patients. They come to see themselves as people who have multiple ways of making themselves feel good, not just going to eat carbohydrates. So I think that's kind of what we do in our society, is the way of making ourselves feel good is to go eat a high carbohydrate meal with our friends, and then we gain weight. Okay to go out with your friends and things, but maybe we can find different things to eat other than the carbohydrate meal. Again, finding a replacement behavior for the addictive habit is the key, and ultimately you'll start craving good food when you get to that place of breaking that carbohydrate addiction. So, but I think having positive thoughts, thinking positive thoughts that create positive emotions for you is very important, because a lot of times if you really look deep inside, why are we eating? Why is it when I come home I'm stressed, and then I sit down, I want to watch TV and just eat a high carbohydrate meal? Most of the time it's not because we're hungry, it's because we got that angst inside or that stress inside that we want to relieve. So we're not really eating for hunger, we're eating to relieve that stress. So finding other ways of doing that is very important other than eating the carbohydrate meal. So again, once we become to the place where we're able to see ourselves as people who have multiple ways of making ourselves feel good other than going to eat carbohydrate meals, then we'll have the weight issue resolved. I hope that helps.